Everyone, welcome back. So in today's video we will learn little bit more about methods which are inside our class, and we will see what all different types of methods are available. So for that, today also I am going to use VS Code as an editor, but feel free to use any other editor of your choice. There is no restriction on that. So let me quickly jump on to VS Code. So this is my VS Code, and first of all I am going to define one class, and let's name it toy. Inside this inside this toy class, first of all I'm going to create a constructor, and we can create constructor using init. So the first parameter of the constructor would be self, and then we need to provide the properties which we want to associate with our class. So let's create color and name as two properties, and then I will just initialize them. So color equals to color and self dot name equal to name. Okay, and let me define one more method which will how to get the color. So I'm naming it as get color, and it will just give me return the, or we can even print it for simplicity. So what it will do is it will return the color. So self dot color. Okay, so till here we haven't done anything fancy. Let me create an object of this class toy, and inside toy we need to pass something. So this is the one, this is color, and if I will go ahead and print toy dot color, I should be able to get output as a blue. Okay, let's go through this code once. So this is the class which is toy, and it has its constructor. So it has name and color as two members. So these are accessed using the self. So whenever we are using self to access anything, it means it is the instance variable. We can use those variable only using the instance of the class. So that's the reason these two, color and the name, are the variables, or you can say the properties of this class, which are instance members, you can say. So the first thing is instance members. Second thing is, now we have created a method which will operate on those instance variables, which will work with those instance variables. So whenever we are writing a method which will take self as a parameter, then we will say that okay, this is the one which is going to work on the instance variable. So such kind of methods are known as instance method. So this is the very first category or topic of today's session. So instance variable means which are associated with self, and instance functions are those functions or those methods which are taking self as a parameter and then working on our members. Now next, let's move on to another category. You want to create some method which will not work with instance members, which will work with some other properties. Let's say here, if I'm defining, so let's say here I'm defining a variable toy material, and I'm assigning a default value of fabric. Okay, so this is the material of the toy. So toy would be of material fabric. Okay, now I want to access this variable, or I want to work on this variable. I do not want to go with the instance variable, because instance variables are used only inside the instance methods or instance functions. So here I'm going to introduce a new method which will just work on the material. So let's say get toy material, and here we need to pass CLS. We'll talk about it in a while, and let's just print CLS dot toy material. Okay, so what we are trying to do here is, as I said, that this is the class member or the class variable. So we need class function to access the class variable. And that's the reason we have defined this new method, which is taking CLS. Now it is mandatory to pass CLS. You cannot change it to something else. So CLS signifies that this is the class member or the class method. Okay, now if I will run this as of now, so let me quickly make a call to this. So toy dot get toy material. Now if I will run this, let's see first what happens. So it is going to return me the fabric, but in some compilers you may not be able to do this. It restricts and it forces you to use the decorators. So we'll talk about the decorators in next session, maybe sometime. But as of now, you can just think that decorator is a keyword which you need to put it on top of your method, and that is class method. So this decorator will tell the interpreter that, okay, consider this as a class method, and that's why we are defining here class. So doing this, after doing this, you can again run it and you will get the same output. So again, it's optional. If you are getting any sort of error, then you can use this particular decorator to get the things done. Now let's talk about one more thing. We worked on instance members, we worked on class members. Now let's say you do not want to work on any of these. You want to work on something different. Let's say you just want to print the information about the class. Let me quickly define a new method here. So define about. So this will just print something about this class. So I'm giving some text. I am toy class. So I have defined this new method about, and it will just, it's not going to work on any static ones. It's not going to work on any members, whether it is a class level or instance level. It is going to just work at the class level. So that's the reason I'm not using here any variable. I'm just saying some message that I am from toy class. Now if I will go here and say toy dot about. So you will notice that at the bottom panel in the terminal, there is an error. It is saying that some arguments are missing. Something is not as per the expectation. So how can we make that work? How will this toy class get to know that this is which kind of function? So for that, again, we need to use a new decorator, which is static method. And static means it is going to work at the class level. So let me try it now. And this time you can see that the output is printed. I am toy. So these are the three important concepts. So you need to be sure that what you are going to work upon, whether you are going to operate on instance, or whether you are going to operate on static members, or whether you are going to operate on the class level members. So accordingly, you need to define, and it is always good to use the decorators, even if it's working without putting it in place. So that's all I have for today, and hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you.